Our portfolio guide. This is a PDF that we've been sharing with y'all and was put together by Dr. Burrieti along with suggestions from Professor Frankel, put together by a graduate student. It summarizes a lot of the comments that we've been experiencing and seeing as we've gone through a few years of portfolio reviews. The spring portfolio review is an opportunity to have a mock job interview process and for us to review a portfolio of your work before greenlighting you for the internship search. And so it contains a lot of the elements, structures, components, pieces, and samples that we recommend the portfolio should look like. I'll take you through a couple of examples as we end the talk here. But let me start with the first element, which is the cover letter. The cover letter should be written for a specific job description, so that we encourage you to either have an actual company name, agency or firm name, or a hypothetical one, and address that cover letter to a specific person, and that the name and address of that agency or firm is visible in the cover letter in the business letter format. Your contact information should include your phone number and email address, either as part of the structure of the letter or at the end of the letter. Begin the letter with salutation to the person whom you're sending the letter, so you can use the format of their name or Sir, Madame. Do not use to whom it may concern. That is probably too general, so it's best to address the letter directly to a person. And again, this could be a specific internship that you're looking for, or it could be a hypothetical employment situation, so that we can understand that you have the ability to create a cover letter that is pertinent to and customizable for a specific job or internship that you may be applying for. So again, use a business letter format. There are templates available across the internet and templates available from career services that you can download from Microsoft Word or from Canva or from resume templates that are available to create a cover letter that is in the business letter format, specifically addressing a specific person, a specific job or position, and that summarizes everything that your resume covers, your specific skills, your specific goals, what you hope to accomplish in this job, and as your development as a planner, and what you can offer this particular firm or agency. Using a byline at the salutation indicates the position you're applying for. That's helpful for human resources folks as they're reading the cover letter. And so it's necessary for you to use in the cover letter exactly which position you're applying for. You should directly link your skills for the job that you are applying, professional skills and technical skills, professional planning skills. The technical skills are supportive of your planning skills and not the other way around. So emphasize the planning skills that you have and then reinforce that technical skills. By the way, planning skills are not a list of software. Planning skills are the analytical skills that you have as a professional planner, emerging professional planner. The cover letter should reinforce how you'll add value or work to the service that the company provides. That's basically selling your abilities and services to that particular firm. Explain to them what value that you bring by employing you to their agency. And end the letter on a positive and proactive note. I look forward to hearing from you and discovering more about your firm. Allow me to contact you in a specific amount of time to discuss the application. Being proactive about following up with them in the cover letter puts a very good foot forward in terms of how you may approach employment with that firm or agency. The resume, there are formats and templates, again, that are downloadable from Microsoft Word to Canva to other resume templates. Career Services has resume templates. The internet is full of different resume templates that you can download and customize in either Microsoft Word or Canva or other software. But at your age, the resume should be a single page. As you gain work experience, they do lengthen in terms of longer experience. Some of us on the faculty have resumes CVs that are 6 to 12 pages in some cases. But at your age, a resume should be a single page. The resume should be written and tailored to a specific job. So I would buy away from using the exact same resume for all job applications. You start your profile by seeking employment. So seeking employment or seeking an internship. So again, it reinforces what's in your cover letter in terms of the specific job that you're applying for. It is typical for us to have our education credentials first, followed by work experience, and then followed up with skills. So in terms of how the resume outline reads, begin with your education. You are a candidate for a degree. So you list that you are a candidate for Bachelor of Urban Planning Development or a candidate for Master of Urban Regional Planning. And then please list your anticipated graduation date. Those are good things for your future employer to know. And in terms of skills, your resume should differentiate between professional skills and technical skills. And in fact, we recommend you categorize those skills into two areas of professional skills. Professional planning skills would include land use planning, comprehensive planning, neighborhood planning, data analysis, economic analysis, development impact analysis. And then technical skills would include a list of software, but also other hard skills. So separating those analytical professional skills from the software and technical skills, we recommend separating those two things in two separate lists. And those can be graphed on a scale of competency, and some resume templates have those involved in them in terms of their templates. But do not mix these two things together. We recommend a list of professional skills or planning skills, and then a list of technical skills and or software skills as two separate forms of information that you include on the resume. Your educational attainment should come before previous educational degrees. So as you start to list your educational attainment, you put your latest first. That would be the degree that you are a candidate for, and include the anticipated graduation date or year. There are other, and then list your educational attainment in reverse order below that. Do the same for job experience, previous job experience that may be landscaping, retail, customer service, or even military. Do not discount those jobs in your resume, but be sure to identify the skill sets you used or gained from these workplaces that be relevant to your planning career, because they are all transferable skills. For example, we've had previous candidates that were in fact management in retail food and food service, and so the management skills that they had in running a Wendy's provide a series of skills that were relatable to a planning agency. And so in turn, we really encourage that particular student to put those skills forward, and that they had already become a manager, and that a lot of the conflict resolution and timekeeping and scheduling and all those different things that that particular student was doing as a retail food manager were relevant skills that we wanted to see in the resume. We've also had students who've served in the military, and they listed very few of those skills that they had learned or done in the military. We encourage them to extract specific skills from their military service and then include them into their professional skills as well as their technical skills. And so the resume should be comprehensive unto itself. It should include contact information, address, phone number, and email address. The reason why is that the cover letter might become separated from the resume at some point. And so you want the resume to have all your contact information as well. Hobbies and references are best left to the interview or follow-up letter, but however, travel and volunteer and political social experiences are of relevance. Travel and service are relevant to experience and skills as well. And then a prelude to your sample work. In a page before your sample work on writing, analysis, and graphics, you should provide the reader with the types of work you're including for each of the sections, the rationale for including the sample work, which of the work is your individual work or group work, and providing some context if there's a studio assignment or a research assignment. This prelude to your sample work is a kind of like a table of contents for each of the chapters or sections that we are asking for. We ask for samples of your writing, samples of your analytical work and samples of your graphic work. And so that can read as a 3-chapter format. A 4th chapter might be an appendix of additional supporting material. And so we just encourage you, either in place of a table of contents or in addition to a table of contents, to provide a detailed table of contents in the beginning of each chapter that we're going through. The first chapter being writing, the second chapter being analysis, the third chapter being graphics, that explains what the reader is about to look at. The writing section, or the writing chapter of your portfolio, is to include a minimum of 3 types of written samples. The first we recommend is a memorandum or memo in the form of a policy memo, a portion of a technical report, which might be a neighborhood plan or might be a site plan, and a portion of a research paper. And given your job opportunity, the preference is work that belongs in your planning and development profession. So at a minimum, 3 different types of writing samples: a policy memo, some form of a technical report, and a format of a research paper. The policy memo is a short paper written for an audience that provides information, makes recommendation on a subject, informs employers of procedural change, a policy recommendation, or summarizes the terms of agreement. In your professional planning careers, you're likely to write memos to the Planning Commission, the City Council, or staff of your employer. The conventional structure of a memo includes the person to whom it is addressed, the person the memo is from, the date of the memo, the subject matter or purpose of the conclusion or recommendation. The memo should be concise, clear, organized. The memo should have a clear purpose, explain what the readers need to know, and conclude what the readers need to do if necessary. A sample memo is here. This is written kind of like a business letter in that it has an address, and it has a very specific recommendation or timeline. This might be a hypothetical memo in many of your cases, may be extracted from one of your courses here. And it makes a very specific, detailed recommendation for policy change, a recommendation, a new ordinance, or something like that. Technical paper is typically an internal paper written by an organization to provide information about the process, progress, results of a technical scientific research or problem. This is likely to take the form of an environmental impact assessment, a housing needs assessment, the level of service by a transportation entity, or the need for an infrastructure project. The goal of a tech paper may be to change people's behavior, disseminate a new approach to doing things. The tech paper should grasp the interest of the audience and show how the problem could be solved or addressed. The best practice in writing a technical paper is to know the audience, communicate clearly the main ideas of the research, be concise and to the point, use active rather than passive voice, avoid using first-person voice and or value judgment. State the facts and let the reader judge for themselves. Be sure to explain concepts directly to the reader. This is still a form of an argument, but it's important to remove value judgment, but let folks judge for themselves. A research paper is an academic writing that documents research into a topic, describes its procedure and methodology, presents the findings from the investigation. A research paper builds on existing knowledge of the subject. A research paper includes titles, statement of the problem, hypothesis, review of the literature, limitations, methodology, and the body of the paper, and includes possible conclusions or proposals. The next chapter that we look for in portfolios is the analytical work. This section should demonstrate your ability to conduct planning analysis and understanding of planning problems and how to solve them. The analysis sample should not be a dumping of information, should not end with graphs or charts or just GIS maps, but should include interpretation and implications of findings. So if you're including GIS maps, if you're including charts and graphs, please explain with captioning what those things mean. So addressing problems or challenges that were presented, what did you do to better understand them to solve the problem? What do you find as salient and significant? What do you recommend in terms of actions to the problem? And so whenever we see analytical work, whether it be in graphic in form or numbers in form or charts or graphs or GIS maps, please always include recommendations or conclusions as part of that. The analysis section should include specific examples of your works in at least 3 areas: land use and development, economics or economic development, demographics, development impacts, functional areas. So examples of these 3 areas might include a land use analysis, an economic analysis, or demographic analysis. In the graphics work section or chapter, there are a variety of different graphics that we use, from infographics to actual illustrated plans and perspectives. And so we cover those in courses like PLAN605 and PLAN261. In every case, though, maps or drawings or plans should have scale. They should have north arrows. Whenever we're looking at a land use plan or illustrated plan, we need to see at least 2 streets. We need some context around the graphics, and so a lot of the graphic exercises that we do in 261, PLAN605 include some context, and they may include a legend when appropriate, if we're diagramming different land uses from each other. And so all the things we've emphasized in the graphic work we've done, north arrows, labeled streets, legends, carry forward, particularly when you start to put a lot of this information together on different pages. So I'll take you through a couple of examples. So this is an example of an undergraduate candidate at the time of their 3rd year review. And we start with a cover page which has a figure ground of Chicago. This was just extracted from the internet or from CADMap or one of those particular services. So provide a little bit of a graphic key or bar along each one. This is a left and right spread, so the first cover looks like that, and then this would represent the left and the right-hand pages coming together. Nick provided an overall table of contents to introduce each of the 3 sections of the portfolio. The resume and cover letter were separate, but he began with graphics. This represents a left and right-hand page, and so the page spine runs down the middle. This represents the overall table of contents of the entire portfolio. This represents the section table of contents. And here Nick has explained what each of the projects that the audience is about to see, or the sub-subjects in the graphics section. There's a little bit of annotation here that explains what the viewer is about to see. And as you can see, each page is paginated, so you can see the page numbers in the lower left and the lower right. So this would represent a left and a right-hand side page. And then we go into a specific corridor in Muncie that includes sections, plan, and renderings that were done in a combination of Plan 202 and 261. Follows all the goals and objectives of that particular illustrated plan. A good kind of mix of before and after. These are Photoshop generated renderings, and so we have an existing photograph aligned directly with the Photoshop collage here on the right. So it has a clear orientation between left and right, meaning before and after, and captions that explain each image as the viewer looks at them. This is a fairly large SketchUp model of Rushville, Indiana. This does represent the left and right hand page, and so in this case the SketchUp model is unfortunately broken by the spine of the print itself, and that can present some difficulties, but because it was such a large model, I think they felt that it was necessary to span it across the 2 pages, but because it is a fairly large model, and then wrapped the text around it. But there are different ways that you can take a larger horizontally oriented image and just include them on 1 page. But in this case, it will span across 2 pages. But we've got a large SketchUp model of the context of Rushville, and more detailed SketchUp models of specific proposals. Then are a series of diagrams that are extracted from that illustrated plan. And so those are explained here from the existing context to the 6-block target area, and then there's quite a few diagrams that you can extract from that particular example in Rushville, Indiana. Other graphic skills, this would be Adobe Illustrator skills in the form of this poster, and then Nick was enrolled in the short graphics elective, and so I did quite a bit of diagramming and drawings and renderings as part of that particular elective. So he elected to put these in the graphics section. And each one is explained in terms of where they are and what the graphics are showing. Next is the analysis section. So he has 3 examples of analysis: descriptive analysis report using GIS mapping, a site inventory for a site design project, back of the napkin financial analysis in terms of a memorandum and or pro forma. So here's a descriptive analysis. This might be from Plan 203, some of the GIS mapping that's done in Regional Planning Studio. So a combination of findings and conclusions as well as the map itself. And these are extracted from GIS and then placed them here on the page. Here we have 24 by 36 studio boards from a specific, looks to be perhaps a 202 studio, and then the entire board is placed here on a single page. So those 24 by 36 boards can translate well into an 8.5 by 11 format. Here's a financial analysis or back of the napkin financial analysis that includes a memo. Then this is likely from one of the economic development courses or studios. Next is his writing section, synopsis of a research essay, a summary of a land bank proposal, excerpts from qualitative analysis, and then a street trees initiative. So again, these are taken from different courses, applicable to the quality, showing the quality of the writing. 4 examples here. So beginning here with the research an excerpt from a research report that includes the references. A land bank proposal in the form of a memorandum. Portion of a qualitative analysis that includes some photography and inventory. In the form of an argument or an initiative here, a 2-page excerpt from a street tree initiative from a neighborhood plan. That completes Nick's example. He did not have an appendix with additional work, but as we look at other examples here, we can see a couple. I have 2 examples here from Megan Jennings. I will show you her particular spring portfolio review that she presented for pre-internship. This is the front cover. This is her resume. This is a template that was downloaded, and so we've got a column here with expertise, education, contact information, experience, and references. So a 1-page template, a general table of contents that show all the projects, and then we go into a larger project. This represents a full initiative for Lexington, Kentucky. That includes a lot of different graphic design, public input, analysis, awards. So photographs of you receiving awards or leading things are good as well. This is not broken up into graphics, writing, and analysis. This is broken up into projects, and so this represents a portfolio that's formatted a little bit differently. But in this case, the analysis section, she chose projects pertinent to this context of Dayton, Ohio, to include demographic analysis in the form of infographics and numbers, economic analysis in the form of infographics and summaries, some mapping as well. And then she used the PLAN605 project to build up additional analysis and writing and graphics together. So this was her project for PLAN605, includes inventory as well as proposals and graphics. Finally, Megan had been asked to do a lot of different graphic design and document design for different organizations, so she chose to do an entire section just on the different documents that she had laid out because of her expertise in document designing, and particularly in Adobe InDesign, as well as other promotional graphics. So all the different graphics that we learn in PLAN605 and 261 become very pertinent. Finally, writing includes the policy memo, land use analysis, and short essays. Show the different writing skills that Megan had accomplished at that point. So this represents, you can see contact information here at the end. So it's structured just a little bit differently, but it does cover all of the 3 areas that we do ask for. Just would like to show you her graduation portfolio. So that was the portfolio she submitted for the mock job interview in terms of pre-internship. This represents a final portfolio that she completed at graduation that she is currently using for job search. And you can see it's structured a little bit differently. It's structured around projects, but then she does point out whether it's a graphic and analytical, what's actually being reinforced there in terms of planning skills. So the structure of your portfolio may change from 3rd year or from the spring of your 1st year in the MERC to later on. And it may become more logical at graduation to restructure the portfolio around projects. But you can see that Megan has pointed out what things are so that they're easy to understand and realize as you page through them. That every project has forms of graphics, forms of writing, and forms of analysis. Additional research in form of travel. Demographics. And a whole section, again, document design. You can see how her graduation portfolio is formatted very similarly to her previous portfolio. Finally, writing. Three sections of writing. And you can see again how valuable it is to sort of start each section with this secondary table of contents. It sort of stops you as you move through the document, really orients you to what you're about to see. These explanations became helpful because it was perhaps, it's a lot of writing, so it becomes kind of confusing. So borrowing this little hint from magazine design, this little box here can orient the viewer to help them understand exactly what they're seeing as they page through it quickly. And you can see how your eye goes straight to that and can break up multiple pages of text very well. And she ends with an inverse of the front cover and with the contact information. Your grad portfolio. This is Will Snyder in his 3rd year. Front cover. Inside left. Looks like this is formatted in a single page format. So we have a full table of contents broken up into written, analysis, and graphics. A resume from a resume template. These are available on the internet. Lots of different resume templates in Microsoft Word and in Canva. Some folks include the picture, contact information, career objective, education, work experience. Again, this is in reverse chronological order. Some different technical skills that can be graphed in terms of proficiency. Some of these resume templates have some helpful things that you can use to graphically explain some of your skills. Looks like awards and activities, and then social media hookups as well. So there's contact information at the top, but also social media references, as well as his personal logo. He begins with written work. Here's a ghosted image of Will working in the studio. Interesting graphic way of orienting through the page. This would be the left-facing page. This would be the right-facing page. And so the writing section has a secondary table of contents that explains what each of the writing samples are going to cover. Policy memo, written as a memorandum. Another memorandum, form of technical memorandum. Post-World War II Urbanization and Urban Decline. This might be in the form of a research report. And then a market study. Include some numbers involved as well. The analysis section, he's got a ghosted GIS map. It looks like a heat map from Muncie. It introduces the analysis section. This would be the left-facing page at the beginning of the chapter, and then the secondary table of contents on the right-facing page. GIS inventory with captions and numbers. Heat maps. Bikeway inventory. Infographics of demographic information. Geospatial analysis from the Regional Planning Studio. Distance rings, land uses. The graphics section, covering a lot of work from 261 and 202. Again, secondary table of contents in the beginning of the chapter. Inventory. This is from third year neighborhood planning studio. Intersections. State Road 13 corridor typologies. This is from Plan 202. Reinforcement from 261. Sections, isometrics. Site redevelopment from Store Elementary in the 202 studio. Mixture of hand and digital graphics. Cartography projects, so a volunteer project that Will did for his local park district. You can see the key map of Illinois here that orients the reader to exactly where it is, and you can see how those key maps work to orient the reader for each of the localities. So he added this to the graphics section as freelance work, software utilized, kind of a clever way of including that. That completes Will's portfolio with his contact information. Another MERP student from our past. This is Matt Nolan. Work student from a couple of years back. Contact information, table of contents, resume, single page format, objective, education and experience, skills. Beginning the graphic samples section with a secondary table of contents, including charrette sketching, rendering, digital renderings, site plan renderings, secondary writing samples, economic analysis and downtown investment. Using a two-column layout for those, including reinforced with charts. Analysis, fiscal feasibility and Fountain Square resident market analysis. So including basic demographics and value. All right. Let's look at one last undergraduate portfolio from one of our alumni. This is from Ellen Fortover. This was her third year portfolio. Overall table of contents. Example of the cover letter. You can see here contact information and then the form of the cover letter addressed to a specific person and addressing specific career objectives. Resume, two-column format with skills and activities, but having contact information and then education and experience. Writing samples, the secondary table of contents, just in this format. Term paper, memo, analytical work, suitability includes summary and findings, context analysis, SWOT analysis, some graphic analysis, and site design in place perhaps of a graphics section. Goes all the way back, in this case, to her first year. And then some 202 work in terms of massing and graphics. Quite a bit of writing supporting the graphic work here. Site plans, sections, and diagrams, as well as pro forma. Aha! So she added a fourth chapter here as a graphics section to support the studio work. So this allowed her to dive back into first year and extract graphic work from charrette graphics and from first year. So this worked out for her in terms of having a site development chapter. It kind of worked out to have a fourth chapter that was just on different graphics. Group work. Fifth chapter of different group work involving the redevelopment of 628 South Walnut. So this was an elective course. Another graphic work that it extracted from a neighborhood action plan. It's an interesting 5-chapter format for Alan's portfolio that covers the 3 required elements, but also adds 2 more as a way of organizing and structuring